Here's 5 shows that aren't as well known as these other 5 shows with the same name. For some of these shows, it was impossible to find footage to use, so there's a lot more stills than normal. Friends. Pretty much everyone knows about Friends. Whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying the show was a monster hit, sitting at the #1 spot for most of its 10-year, 10-season run. What you probably don't know is that in 1979, there was a very different show called Friends. Friends was about 3 11-year-old kids growing up in Southern California. The show premiered on March 25, 1979 on ABC. Friends was a comedy drama from Aaron Spelling. Spelling was on fire at the time with hit shows like Charlie's Angels and The Love Boat. Friends starred Charlie Aiken, Jill Whalen, and Jared Johnson, young actors who all worked on shows from Aaron Spelling. The series revolved around the lives of these 3 kids and all the experiences they were going through while growing up. Kind of like a precursor to The Wonder Years, just without the soundtrack. Unlike The Wonder Years, each episode of Friends was an hour long, which may have been a little too much time to spend with a trio of 11-year-olds. Friends lasted 5 episodes, with the last one airing on April 22nd, 1979. It looks like they only filmed 5 episodes, so there aren't any missing ones. The show has never been released on DVD, and it's not available anywhere for streaming, not even VHS rips on YouTube. Meanwhile, the show Friends is on DVD, Blu-ray, and is streaming just about everywhere, including YouTube. ER. ER was a huge medical drama starring George Clooney, but did you know there was a medical sitcom called ER that starred George Clooney? ER premiered on September 16, 1984 on CBS. The show was about the lives of the various doctors, nurses, and other employees who worked at the fictional Clark Street Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. The main character was Dr. Sheffield, played by Elliot Gould, an ENT who works after hours at the hospital to help pay for his overwhelming alimony payments to his 2 ex-wives. George Clooney played Ace, the hotshot ER technician who wasn't introduced until later in the season, but stayed until the end of the show. The show is often compared to the long-running war drama sitcom MASH. Not so much in terms of quality, but in terms of tone. They'd often go from a joke into a much more serious moment of somebody going into surgery. This was a show about the emergency room of a hospital, after all. The series ran for 22 episodes, with the last one airing on February 27, 1985. The show ran in reruns and aired in syndication on a few other networks over the years. The show has never been released on DVD, it's not available for streaming, but the full series is on YouTube. While ER the sitcom wasn't around long, ER the medical drama was on the air for 15 seasons, over 15 years. Many of the cast from ER also went to work on ER. Besides George Clooney, there was also Conchita Ferrell, Mary McDonnell, Luis Avalos, Ian Patrick Williams, James Gallery, James Lashley, and Sam Anderson. Empire. Empire was a sitcom that poked fun at the lives of corporate employees of the company Empire Industries. Empire was a drama about the company Empire Entertainment that produced hip-hop. Empire the sitcom premiered on January 4th, 1984 on CBS. The show was a satire about the ridiculousness of corporate culture in the 1980s. However, it didn't strike a chord with audiences and did not last long. Perhaps it struck a little too close to home for the network executives. The show ran for 6 episodes, with the last one airing on February 1st, 1984. It doesn't look like the series aired anywhere else after its initial run. It may have played in other countries, but I couldn't find any evidence of it doing so. The show wasn't released on DVD, it's not available for streaming, and none of the episodes are on YouTube. The only thing I could find was audio of the intro song, and this commercial from Empire Carpets from 1984. Empire ran for only 6 episodes, but the 2015 Empire ran for 5 years and 6 seasons. I never watched the 2015 Empire. All I know about it is that it won a bunch of awards, and it had that famous French actor, Juicy Smouillet, in it. The Practice. The Practice was a sitcom about a father and son who are each doctors, but because of their differences, they don't get along. The Practice was a courtroom drama about the defense attorneys of a Boston law firm. The Practice premiered on January 30th, 1976 on NBC. The show is about Dr. Jules Bedford, who does things in an old-school way. He genuinely cares for his patients and thinks that the practice of medicine should always be more about helping people instead of making a profit. He's butting heads with his son David, a Park Avenue doctor who is more interested in making money. The older Dr. Bedford was played by actor Danny Thomas from The Danny Thomas Show. His character in the practice was very similar to who he was in reality. Thomas was the founder of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in 1962. He's dedicated much of his life to fundraising for charity. The practice did well enough to be greenlit for a second season, but that didn't do as well as the first, and the show was canceled. It lasted 2 seasons with 23 episodes, with the last one airing on January 26, 1977. They filmed 27 episodes, but never aired the final 4. It does look like the practice got a DVD release on the Warner Brothers Warner Archive collection, but it's out of print. However, as of currently, there's a few copies of it on eBay if you're interested. The show isn't available for streaming, and only a few clips are on YouTube. Meanwhile, the courtroom drama The Practice lasted for 7 seasons over 8 years. Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell. Okay, this one is a little bit of a stretch, but I decided to talk about it since the story behind the whole debacle is kind of interesting. In 1975, ABC aired a variety show called Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell. The first episode aired on September 20th, 1975. The pilot episode featured celebrity guests like Frank Sinatra, Siegfried and Roy, Yogi Berra, and even the cast of the Broadway version of The Wiz. For the musical guests, they had Scotland's own Bay City Rollers, who most likely performed Saturday Night.
Right, man, turn off the Bay City Rollers! The soccer game's about to begin!
In October of 1975, NBC began airing their sketch comedy program called Saturday Night. Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell was considered an oddity, since Howard Cosell was largely known for sports broadcasting and had no experience with comedy or variety-style programming. The show had a team of regulars like Bill Murray, his brother Brian Doyle Murray, Billy Crystal, and Christopher Guest, who were called the Primetime Players. The show was a mess, and comedian Alan King, who was the executive in charge of comedy for the show, lamented the decision to turn Cosell into the head of a variety show, saying he made Ed Sullivan look like Buster Keaton. The show lasted for 18 episodes, with the last one airing on January 17, 1976. In 1977, about a year after the show had ended, Saturday Night changed their name to Saturday Night Live. They ended up hiring Bill Murray, his brother Brian Doyle Murray, Billy Crystal, and Christopher Guest. Moving forward, the cast of Saturday Night Live was dubbed the Not Ready for Primetime Players. In 1985, Howard Cosell hosted Saturday Night Live and poked fun at the show, as well as his failed show, in his opening monologue. In 2002, TV Guide ranked Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell number 37 on its 50 worst TV shows of all time list. The show has never been released on DVD, and it's not available for streaming. Aside from a few clips and promos, the show is not on YouTube. Well, that's another 5 shows. I'm enjoying these themed episodes, and I hope you are too. These episodes are fun, and they give me more time to work on my other longer videos. I'm working on the exploring documentaries, which I know many of you are waiting for. I assure you, they will be worth the wait. The ones that I'm currently working on are just taking a really long time. I'll see you next time. Stay tuned.
Isn't he a wonderful doctor? You have your own practice in town?
Yes, I do. Ear, nose, and throat.
I have all of those.